And good morning. How is everyone today? I will give it a moment for all of you to join out there. I hope you had a great weekend. Good morning. You guys all hear me okay? Send me a wave when you show hello. Good morning. All right. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I did. And I know I did not warn any of you that I wasn't going to be here Friday. It was kind of a last minute decision. In fact, I'm going to talk this morning about energy. And I'm a great example, I think, of what I'm seeing out there in the world right now is most people that I've talked to in the last 2 weeks have just said that they're overwhelmed, they're drained, they feel like their to-do list is too long. And I started to feel that way last week. And one of the things that I've learned about self-care is that you have to recognize when you need to take a day or not. And so I actually was planning to do a live on Friday and made the decision to post a rerun, essentially, one from the vault, because I just needed a morning for Trisha. And so I took one. So it was helpful. It kind of boosted me back up. I think a lot of the times your list gets so long that you just kind of have to take a day to decompress so that you can come back with full energy. And that's kind of what prompted the topic today is I have had so many people lately tell me that they feel drained. They just feel overwhelmed. Done. Right? Like, and it's just, or even not even motivated to do the to-do list. And I'm running across that too. My to-do list today is long and I've got to get it done, but I think taking Friday may help me do so. We will see. But so that's what I'm going to talk about today. Are you guys noticing this as well? I don't know if it's just just the environment out there right now. I don't know, but I was just feeling drained, and I feel much better today. Feels good. I have all three mutts out here with me today. Hopefully they'll behave. They won't make too much noise. I think I have all three. Yes. So are you guys feeling the same way? Are you with me on this? It's so funny. If I were to mark something on a calendar when I feel the most overwhelmed, almost always it's October. And normally I attribute that to holiday planning because I usually do a big Thanksgiving and I do a big Christmas party, which I don't know that I'll do this year. I don't know. I normally attribute it to that. Like, okay, kids are back in school and it's been a month and, now we're planning holidays. But with 2020, it's been kind of weird. My kids just went to school last week and I haven't even thought about the holidays, yet I still feel like October is hands down my busiest time. I don't know if it's just like when bills come due or what. I don't know, but it's crazy. Yeah, see, you guys are feeling it too, right? Yeah. So I'm going to talk today about some what you may find surprising energy drainers that kind of just zap your energy out of you, and then how we can replenish it naturally, how we can work towards replenishing it. Now, I want to say one thing. I'm not really a believer in take a pill and fix the problem, right? So, when it comes to energy, it's not like you do these things I talk about for one day and boop, all of a sudden you're healed. But these are things you can start to do throughout the day. One, to recognize what's draining your energy so that you can reverse that, and also healthy lifestyle tips that you can incorporate in so that you can recover from these moments of overwhelmed faster. So in the past, I would have had to take like a week off to reset, where now I really just need a day, and I tend to put it towards the weekend so that I can kind of do my own thing on Saturday and Sunday. But so these aren't quick fixes, but they're definitely fixes to pay attention to. And I think things that all of us maybe just need reminder of, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Feels like a culmination of everything. Yeah. I'm glad you're enjoying the apple slurry, right? Yeah. So in times of stress, we feel tired, right? When we're overstimulated, we feel tired. Okay. I think this is quite a time of overstimulation. I think fall in general, getting ready for the holidays, getting kids back to school, perhaps not. Also, election years are always more data, more information. We have information at our fingertips all the time. And sometimes it's too much and it's just too much stress for us. And so it makes us feel tired. If you've had a long day where you've been working, constantly all day, when you get home, you're exhausted, right? Sometimes even thinking about making dinner can just overwhelm you. You're like, oh, I'll just do takeout. you know. We cook a lot here at the Pingle House, and we were having some work done on our house, so it's kind of forced us to eat out a little bit more, but I'll say I'm more tired when I eat out more. It's interesting. I was able to cook in my kitchen last night because my kitchen was back in use, and, I feel much better today, right? Good morning, everyone. So, in this go-go society, stress is a huge energy drainer, and I'm going to talk about that, and let's talk about it. Why not? Okay. So here's the thing with stress and with the hormones associated with stress. So when you have a surge of adrenaline, a lot of people would say, well, I get a lot of energy from that. I feel good when I do that. And it's true in the short term, right? But if you're having adrenaline output in a long term, in a chronic tight state, you will actually become more fatigued over time. Okay, it's not, so the problem is we reach for things that give us that adrenaline, and that's not always the best solution long term, okay? Chronic stress can wear you out and leave you feeling exhausted, depleted, and overwhelmed. And I would say the word overwhelmed is the most common word that I hear in my practice, right? Would you guys agree? Overwhelmed is a big one. I always say it's kind of like you've got all these orders, like you run a cake making factory and you've got all these orders for cakes, right? There's a line out the door and you're loving it, but like you can't keep up with the phones and making the cakes and making a high quality cake and getting the materials. At some point, if you just keep going and you never rest, your cakes aren't going to taste as good as they did in the beginning and you're going to lose customers, right? And that's kind of how stress works for us too. It's like at first we're on it, we're taking care of everything. We're making all the cakes. We got it going. We're the best in town. And then over time, what starts to happen is you just simply can't keep up. It's just not possible. And then you start to feel overwhelmed, standing in the kitchen going, oh, who cares if I make cake? Something that you maybe were once passionate about, maybe you're not so passionate about anymore, right? And I get sad when that happens. And that happens every so often when I get overwhelmed. If I start to lose passion in the things that I'm normally really excited about, I'm like, all right, Trisha, it's time to take a couple days. Like just reset, get back into your mindset, start making cakes, rethink your recipe. And I think that's a really important discipline to have in times of stress. And a lot of people don't have that. And it's a learned skill. Oh my gosh, can you guys hear Piggy snoring? She's sawing logs over there. The other problem with chronic stress such as this and feeling overwhelmed all the time is it leads to health conditions. Diabetes, very common, increases inflammation. So if you're prone to autoimmune disease, cardiovascular disease, immune system problems, arthritis, pain, when your inflammation goes up, all of that comes into play. So stress can cause more health conditions as well. And then ironically, those health conditions then cause more stress on the body, right? So then you get stuck in that, or what I call the hamster wheel of stress, where no matter what you do, your body's under stress. The cortisol's going all the time. That's what I mean by stress, guys. It doesn't have to be the death of a loved one, doesn't have to be a massive event to have stress. It's just what that means is that cortisol, epinephrine, and norepinephrine are working too hard. The adrenal glands are pumping out hormones too often throughout the 24-hour cycle. And when that starts to happen, you start to have detriment to your health, right? Fatigue being one of them, okay? Make sense? Number 2, I have so many people tell me that when they get tired, they reach for an energy drink. Not a good idea. Because what does an energy drink do? Just think about it. It stimulates an output from the adrenal glands, right? So isn't that just mimicking chronic stress? So long term, what is that going to do for your health, right? It's the same thing. If you're taking anything, and this number 3 on my list is coffee, and here I am drinking my coffee, right? I have a certain limit. I'm not drinking it all day, right? I also take 1,000 herbs for my adrenal glands and practice meditation and yoga and Pilates. So, I think there's a balance, okay? Don't get me wrong. But just think about the concept of it. When you stimulate the adrenal glands, if they're already overstimulated from stress, you're just worsening the problem. Okay? Not to mention that the energy drinks are full of, I'm going to say this, crap. They're not, oh, well, mine has B12. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It has cyanocobalamin. That's not B12. You're not getting anything from it. And if that, it's a tiny amount. You're getting junk and dyes and junk and crap, right? You're also worsening your adrenal output, causing more stress on the body, and in the long term, becoming more addicted to these energy drinks in order to stay awake, right? It's a great marketing ploy. It's awesome, but it will drain you for sure. I even have some studies to discuss with you on that. Okay, so these are high in sugar and caffeine for the most part. They will cause you to crash afterwards. And in fact, the caffeine will cause the body to increase cortisol production, just as if it was experiencing some sort of stress. Okay, so heavy consumption of caffeine has been shown in research, and this could be in energy drinks or in coffee. I'm going to kind of blend these two, can lead to anxiety and panic attacks. Okay, oh, Emma back there. Facebook can see Emma having a little scratch back there. Oh, the dogs. Now, consuming energy drinks can also disrupt sleep patterns. Now, if we've talked about before, sleep is critical for repair of cells. Critical. If you're not sleeping, you're not repairing your immune system. You're not repairing your skin. You're not regenerating your cells. You're lowering your nutrition. So consuming energy drinks can disrupt your sleep, which makes you more fatigued and more prone to more adrenal problems, right? A survey by the CDC of service members who drank energy drinks found that those who consumed 3 or more energy drinks per day reported more sleep disturbances and more instances of falling asleep during briefings on guard duty. So they were on the job and they would fall asleep from drinking energy drinks, right? A high volume of caffeine in the energy drinks can lead to cardiovascular risks. It has been shown in research that people that drink these types of drinks are more regularly the victim of irregular heartbeat or cardiac arrest. Okay? They're not helpful. If you find yourself reaching for energy drinks, think about what might be draining you, okay? And I always say that. In naturopathic medicine, what we care about, people say, what's the difference? Why do we care? Whatever, you could just take a pill. Naturopathic medicine is different in that we're looking for why something's happening so we can modify that. So if you know that you have too much stress around you, you can't always remove the stress, right? External stressors we really don't have a huge control over, but we do have control over how we internalize it. And how we internalize it impacts our health. So if you're finding that you're under a ton of stress, you're not sleeping well, you're fatigued, and you're reaching for energy drinks, stop the energy drink and go back and ask yourself, how can I improve the way that stress impacts my body? For those of you that want assistance with that, if you're looking for programs that do that, Total Health Turnaround does that. For those of you, many of you in my lives are part of the program and can attest to the fact that you have to learn how to do this. It's a learned skill to push out and block out that excess stress so that you can handle everything and get everything done and avoid being overwhelmed. Okay? So moving into coffee, which is still along the same lines as energy drinks, although I do know a ton of people, including myself, that can have 1 cup of coffee in the morning and they do pretty well, right? In fact, I hardly ever finish my cup of coffee. I just love the taste. I think it's because I grew up in the Pacific Northwest and I don't know. I just love the taste of coffee. Love it. So I really only need a couple sips in the morning and I'm pretty much good, and I'll do tea and water the rest of the day. But many of us rely on a morning cup of coffee, and I think depending on your health history, you might be able to keep it in there. But keep in mind that if you're using it throughout the day, you're sending more cortisol output throughout the day. So it's one thing to wake your cortisol up in the morning and stimulate it in the time that is naturally supposed to be stimulated in the morning, but to continue to drink coffee throughout the day gives you an irregular adrenal rhythm. Does that make sense? So we don't want to do that, right? Have your cup of coffee in the morning and call it a day. But similar to energy drinks, right? It can cause the body to increase cortisol production. It can often cause anxiety if consumed at higher volume. And it can interfere with your natural cortisol rhythm, therefore making you tired, right? Caffeine withdrawal also occurs with coffee consumption. So many people get a withdrawal when they don't have caffeine. And just like energy drinks, caffeine can cause sleep disturbances, right? And can affect your heart rate and cardiovascular system. So take a look at your overall health and decide how much caffeine can you afford to drink in a day. If you're going to drink caffeine, I would probably lean towards black teas, green teas, small amount of coffee. I would absolutely stay away from the bright orange, yellow looking energy drinks that supposedly have vitamins in them. They don't. Okay? You're saying, Vic, was there a question? I've got a over there. Number 4, possible. So these are all things that people normally would do to increase their energy, right? They do energy drinks, they do coffee. What else do you do if you're feeling kind of tired? You may nap. But guess what? Research shows that naps are not the best option when you're tired either, like an afternoon nap. If you rest too long during the day or you nap too frequently, it can set you up for insomnia and further exhaustion. So if you research shows that if you take a nap, if you absolutely have to take a nap, it needs to be less than 20 minutes in the afternoon. Okay? Because if it's more than that, it starts to impact your regular cortisol rhythm. So it has to be a quick cat nap. I know they have that set up in certain areas in certain cities, like they have little nap pods. I don't know if they're open now, but the little nap pods, and I know typically they're under 20 minutes for a reason, right? Because the research shows that under 20 minutes is the only way that it could be successful. You drink a lot of coffee and take afternoon naps? Hey, Sarah, I'm about to talk about that. Sarah says she's feeling tired. She ups her water intake. That's actually one of my remedies I'm about to discuss. Number 4 of my remedies of how to naturally increase your energy. So good job. That's actually my favorite one. I don't know why I have it as number 4. We're going to get to it. It probably should be number 1 because we all know that as a majority, we're all pretty much dehydrated. So if you're dehydrated, you're tired. If you think about what water does, water clears toxins. It puts oxygen into our body. So if you don't have good blood flow and good hydration, you can't possibly expect oxygen to get everywhere it needs to go, right? So that's a fantastic suggestion, Sarah, and I'm coming to that one. Debbie, go for a walk. Let's talk about that now. You guys are moving ahead of me. You're not going to need me anymore, right? You guys know exactly what I'm going to say, don't you? I like matcha green tea as well. Yeah. I work from home as well, Vic, and I just do coffee and then I have, my water after that. And as soon as I feel like I want another cup of coffee, I start drinking water. Give that trick a try. Okay, so let's talk about 6 natural ways that you can improve your energy. And like I said, these are not quick fixes, right? These are things that you have to incorporate in your life on a daily basis so that you stay energetic and you don't drop and let stress impact you, okay? Yeah, I agree with you, Fred. Coffee does taste pretty good after dinner. I think a lot of people here will do decaf after dinner, and I think that might be better. It kind of depends on how it impacts and what your stress input is in your general health, I mean, I think most people are feeling pretty overwhelmed and fatigued. So, hopefully these tips will help. Number 1, physical activity. As Debbie just said, she goes for a walk. Physical activity every day, even just 10 minutes a day, can help improve your energy. Doing it in the morning does tend to help with a lot of people with energy. I'm someone that really enjoys my quiet morning. I like to get up, have my small little cup of coffee. I drink water. I see one person recommending lemon water. I drink lemon water as well. I love it. In the morning, I like to get my kids ready for school. I like to kind of pick stuff up. I kind of have my routine in the morning. So I tend to do my exercise in the later afternoon and the evening. Find where it is for you because I sleep hard when I do that. I mean, when I go to exercise at 4 or 5 o'clock, when I get home, I eat dinner and I'm off to bed, right? So find that time that works for you. But getting the blood moving will help. If you get fatigued when you work out, consider possible dehydration. Okay, consider that maybe you don't have enough water in there to really move that oxygen through, so make sure you're well hydrated, okay? There were some studies here. Just taking a 10-minute walk can help get your blood moving, circulate your oxygen through your body, and improve your energy level. Exercise has also been shown in studies to improve your mood, right? In stressful situations, just walking out the door and just walking around the neighborhood can really lower your stress response, okay? It doesn't even have to be long. Just get out of the room. And I recommend that a lot to my patients, especially my patients that are having a lot of anxiety, feeling kind of like they're overwhelmed, almost like you feel like you're locked in, like you just can't get it out of your head. So one of the first things I always tell them to do is walk out the door. Just get out of the room you're in. Just completely remove yourself from it for 10 or 15 minutes. Go walk around the block, go play with the dog, something that distracts the brain from that moment. And if you're still in that moment, go a little bit longer, go shopping, do something, get out of the situation. Most of the time, that will help. It also helps you stay motivated, helps you feel a little bit more positive. You know, if you start to feel tired in the afternoon, one thing that I always cue people into is if your adrenal glands are under a lot of stress, and they're having a physiological impact, typically you'll be really tired around 2 to 3 p.m. and awake at 2 to 3 a.m. So the cortisol rhythm gets reversed, where the cortisol is low in the afternoon and high in the middle of the night. So if you're starting to notice that, that's a cue. That's the body saying, whoa, I'm stressed out. Fix me. So honest now, guys, how many of you are tired around 2 to 3 p.m. and waking up around 2 to 3 a.m.? I bet a lot of you. I used to be that way. I get it. I used to be that way. It's better now, which is good. So instead, in the afternoon, instead of giving into that nap, this goes to you, Vic, instead of giving into that nap, maybe do some physical activity. Turn on some music and dance around the house. Try taking a brisk walk around the block. Of course, always check with your doctor. I know many of you have health conditions, but in general, if you can get up and move, it really helps. Yeah, see, a lot of you, me, right? So what you have to do is you have to try to get that cortisol up in the afternoon and get it low at night. So there's some herbs you can use for that. My program would be a good one for you if you're finding that as well. But lifestyle-wise, it's getting up and moving in the afternoon. That's why I do my exercise around 4 o'clock. Tends to help me a little bit. Okay, healthy diet. I know I've spoken about this a lot, but there's a lot of value in your diet. There's a lot of nutrition in your diet. So when you're under stress, which is the primary reason why we feel this way, you deplete B vitamins, you deplete minerals, you deplete vitamin C, right? These nutrients are used to keep cortisol high. So eating foods that can replenish those are really important. Water containing foods, also really important. Kale, Brussels sprouts, other leafy greens, any type of green leafies not only have the minerals you need, but they also have some water in there as well. I tend to lead more towards plants, right? And I realize not everyone is that, but I think it's very important to focus on vegetables, legumes, berries, nuts, dairy alternatives. Dairy can make a lot of people very tired, not to mention it can have a really strong inflammatory effect. So there's a few things to consider in diet. If you're someone that gets tired after you eat, that's a sign that maybe the food is not giving you the energy you need. Let's just back up on physiology a little bit and say, okay, why do we eat? Right? We eat to create energy. That's why we eat. Now, it's awesome when the food tastes good, and I definitely love good tasting food, but that is why we eat. We eat to create energy, to break down sugar, fat, and protein into energy. So if you're eating and you're finding yourself really tired, that's a cue to you to consider maybe what you're eating is not the best for your body, okay? And maybe you need to consider different types of foods to give you energy, right? So slump in the afternoon, awake at night is a cue that your adrenal glands are under too much stress. Tired after eating, not getting energy from food, not feeling revived from eating is a sign that maybe you're under stress or that you're eating the wrong diet for your body, okay? Number 3, a good night's sleep. Now this is a tough one because if you're under stress, you're not going to sleep well, right? I use herbs and mostly herbs and amino acids to treat this in my practice. I can name some out there. Obviously, I can't give you a prescription on it. I do have my supplement line. I do have 2 adrenal supplements, Total Energy and Total Stress Support, that do contain some of these. But I use phosphatidylserine, which is an amino acid. I use L-theanine, which is an amino acid. I'll use herbs like ashwagandha, rhodiola, quite commonly, Eleutherococcus, quite commonly. I've also used things like valerian, passiflora, lavender, some sort of herbs to help calm the body down at night as well. I found phosphatidylserine to be ridiculously helpful with getting a good night's sleep when you're the one that wakes up at 2 a.m. So using phosphatidylserine actually helps reset the cortisol rhythm. And guess what? I have an article coming out on that soon, so we'll do a full live on that one, okay? But some things to think about. If you're sleep deprived and you're still not sleeping, right, the body is in too much cortisol output. So it's another sign that maybe you need to look at your adrenal rhythm. You need to look at your stress. You need to improve your diet. You need to get out and exercise more, right? Practicing good sleep hygiene, not having coffee before bed, which I know is already discussed, but relaxing bedtime routine. I know when I was having trouble sleeping, I would take a warm bath before bed. I see chamomile as a suggestion. I do love chamomile. Some people have allergies to chamomile, so you have to watch that. Dark room, proper temperature. Lastly, that smartphone should not be in your bedroom. Don't give me any excuses. Well, I use it as an alarm. Well, there are plenty of alarms out there. Smartphone, out. Because the first thing you're going to do when you wake up is check it. And that impacts cortisol rhythm. Okay, so don't do that. I have a question about melatonin. So melatonin is an interesting one because melatonin and serotonin are in the same pathway, and melatonin's signaling has a lot to do with cortisol signaling. So they kind of overlap a little bit. So when I use melatonin, I tend to use it more as needed as opposed to nightly. I find, and maybe you have as well, that if I take melatonin every night or my patients take melatonin every single night, it doesn't help sleep after a short period of time. And I think part of that is if you're awake because of a cortisol rhythm, you're impacting the signaling between cortisol and melatonin gets a little bit off. And also, if you have a ton of melatonin, it impacts your serotonin. So I use it more like, I know it's going to be a weekend and I don't have to get up in the morning, so I'll take some melatonin. I don't tend to use it more regularly. Have a question about passion flower for sleep. I love passion flower for sleep. One of my favorites. It's also indicated for people that wake up at 2 a.m. with anxiety. So a lot of you out there that said, me, check out Passiflora or passion flower. GABA. GABA is a hit or miss situation. One, you want to take it as its amino acid. You don't necessarily want to take it as GABA. And that's fine. So it's as taurine or as a derivative of that. And in many people, GABA helps. So what GABA does is it helps the parasympathetic activity, like the calming activity, go up higher than the stimulatory. Sometimes what happens, though, if you go too high here, your body adjusts by making you more stressed out, right? And that's what happens with benzodiazepines, with Xanax, Ativan, or Ativan is Xanax, sorry. All the benzodiazepines. Sorry, my brain's tired. What'll happen is you have to use more, right? So let's say you started at 0.25 milligram and you're good for a while, and then all of a sudden the excitatory hormones balance out higher, and then you have to go up to 0.5, and then they balance up, and then you got to go up to 1, right? That's what happens with those drugs. That's why they're addictive. So GABA, I like that it's not addictive because it just puts GABA into the body essentially for the body to grab. But I do find that if you're not addressing the underlying stress, you're going to just continue to go like this. So it's kind of a multifactorial. So I use GABA quite a lot in conjunction with adrenal support, if that makes sense. It would be helpful to have a list of these herbs in effect. Yeah, I know. I can't really over social media say, take this for that, take this for that. I mean, I'm a licensed doctor, so there's regulations within my board of what I can do and what I can't do. But I can tell you what to ask your doctor about or what herbs to research on your own. Okay? I would not sleep with your phone and your iPad at all in your room at all. I would take them out of the room and I wouldn't look at them until after you've had your morning routine. Wake up, have breakfast, do your thing, whatever. Then go check your phone. Don't make it one of the first things you do. I'm a concierge doctor, I get texts and stuff, so I have an app for that. It's not my regular phone. So when I walk by my phone in the morning, I can just go like this and it'll tell me if I've been reached by a patient. And as long as I don't have a patient thing, I don't look at my email, I don't check my texts. I try to just walk right past it, go get my cup of coffee, talk to the kids, make breakfast, remind myself. We didn't used to do that. We didn't wake up in the morning and check our answering machine, right? When we were younger, did we? I didn't. I checked my answering machine when I got home from school, hoping someone had called. But yeah, I didn't wake up and check your answering machine and see how many people had written you mail. Like, you didn't check your mail first thing in the morning. So why do we wake up, check our email, check our text, check our voicemail, check the news, everything on our phone before we even sit down and have breakfast? I would not have it, Marie, I know you don't like my answer, but yeah, no, I would not have it in the bedroom. People give me the hardest time about that. What's the limitation, guys? Why can't your phone be in a different room at night? Just think about that. Why? Like, everyone gives me the hardest time about that one. Everybody. I'm like, okay, well, remove your phone in your bedroom. Oh, no, I sleep with my phone. What? What's the problem? Why? Why do we need it there? It's addictive. That's why. They've got you. They've got you in an addicted thing, right? I don't know. It is seriously one of the hardest things. There's two things, hardest things with my patient database for people that I talk to. One, getting that damn cell phone out of the bedroom. And number two, removing dairy. Those are the two that I swear I get more pushback on. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. That it shouldn't be that hard. Right? So if it is that hard, ask yourself why. Why is it so difficult to put your phone in a different room? Right? Think about it. and ask yourself why it's hard. It's so hard to be like that. Well, why? And don't get me wrong. I had to go through that too. I had to overcome a dairy addiction, right? I had to think about, but I could keep my phone with me. But then I recognized, wait a minute, this is ridiculous. Like, why can't my phone be downstairs in the kitchen when I'm upstairs sleeping? Like, this is ridiculous. There's absolutely no reason that my phone needs to be there except so that I can check it. I don't see any other reason why. Well, being single even. I mean, like, you should be sleeping, right? I've missed important life or death issues before by not being reachable. As you know, my mom went through cancer. My dad, when he passed, we didn't have cell phones. We did, but it wasn't used like it is now. They weren't smartphones. And my dad had a stroke, and my home phone rang at 2 a.m. and told me he had a stroke. So what I have done since then is I have kept a home phone. And there's nobody has that number except people who are really close to me. And I put that phone on the other side of the bedroom. It's a landline, plug into the line phone. For those of you that say you don't want to pay for landline, I use a VoIP. So I pay for it through my internet, and it's across the room. And the only time it rings is when it's a solicitor, which is during dinner time, or if somebody's in trouble, right? Right? There's only so many people that are going to wake you up with an emergency, right? Right? Right, but Andrea, just think about that. Okay? Just think about different ways for people to reach you. All right. Enough on that. See, you guys give me such pushback. Just telling you. Just reminding you that prior to cell phones, what did we do? How did we find out if our dad had a stroke before cell phones were next to our bed? How did we find out? Right? Just think about it. Everyone asks like we've never done this before. We've done this. We've heard about emergencies before, right? Get a landline. Easy. Get a pager, for God's sakes, and only give it to the only people that need it. Put that by your bed, I know, people give me such a hard time. Wait till I get going on dairy. You guys will start throwing tomatoes at me, right? All right, water. Back to my friend Sarah, my cousin Sarah, who brought that out earlier. One of the main reasons that people are tired or overwhelmed is they're not well hydrated. Now, last Friday, I took the morning off because I was feeling overwhelmed, and I think I made it through, and I'm normally really good about drinking water, and I think I made it through till about 2 o'clock, and I was like, oh my God, I feel like I need a cup of coffee. And then I looked and I was like, I have not had water all day. Drank my water, energy came back. Right? So that is one of the most energy boosting things. I know, Richard, a pager, but there are ways to be notified. First of all, look at what are the odds that someone will notify you in the middle of the night, right? Maybe you have someone you care for, like I cared for my grandpa. Maybe you had, and their home had my home number, not my cell phone number for nighttime. But just think about that. Like, what are other ways that you could be notified that didn't require a smartphone? Just a thought. I'm not going to convince you otherwise, Andrea. You're going to keep that cell phone in the bedroom no matter what. So just do whatever you need to do to minimize interaction with it. Put it in a drawer, I guess. I don't know. But water, very, very important. It is key to maintaining energy levels for what we talked about earlier. You need to get oxygen to the cells. You need to keep the blood flowing. So if you're well hydrated and you get up and walk around the block, you should be able to boost your energy a little bit. Okay. Essential oils. Oh, speaking on the water, if you're not someone who's really good at water, you can drink coconut water. You could add cucumbers to your water. Sometimes I'll do mashed berries, just because, to make it flavor a little bit better. I hear you, Mary. I do. Just consider a landline. They still exist. You guys always give me such a hard time about that. You guys need to watch is it The Social Dilemma on Netflix? Yeah. Watch that. On the cell phone. All right. Don't just believe me, right? Essential oils, we talk about those. One of my favorites for lifting up my energy: peppermint, spearmint, eucalyptus. I love bergamot. If you're feeling kind of run down, just putting a dot under your nose or putting them in a diffuser can often lift you up, wake you up a little bit. So those are some tips there. Green tea, instead of coffee, consider green tea, consider black tea. There are antioxidants in green tea that are incredibly beneficial to your health. So having something that gives a little caffeine but also benefits your health is a good thing. Just don't overdrink it, okay? So you guys gave me a hard time today. So anyway, we talked about the 4 surprising energy drainers. We talked about some ways that you can boost your energy back up. If you're feeling great all the time and you're sleeping well and your health is good and you don't feel overwhelmed or drained, then, that's okay. But I find that the norm is most people are draining our energy, and most of it is from just this constant stimulation that we continue to put in our body, right? I'm sorry, I forgot the 5-HTP question. 5-HTP, same thing. 5-HTP is similar to the melatonin I talked about earlier, or GABA. 5-HTP drives the reaction towards serotonin. Now with that, you have to have proper levels of vitamin C, which are drained with stress. You need to have proper levels of B vitamins, which are drained with stress. So if you have all the cofactors, you're doing the stress management, you may find that the 5-HTP helps boost your mood a little bit or help you sleep due to the serotonin impact. But you have to look at it in a well-rounded thing. Keep in mind that when your serotonin is higher, that has impacts on other things as well. So I would always recommend, whenever you use amino acids for adrenal, for serotonin, for melatonin, that you're looking at it from a holistic standpoint. All the different things that could be impacted and all the nutrients that are required to really get the benefit out of it. And if you're doing that, I think it can really help. It's just, you need to have a holistic viewpoint on it. There's never just like take this pill and go to sleep forever. It'll mess with your biochemistry, right? Which is why biochemistry and biochemical individuality is so incredibly important in medicine, because all of us are different. I think I'd probably stay awake if I took 5-HTP. Because my serotonin levels are pretty good. So, but then again, I take phosphatidylserine and I fall asleep in 20 minutes. So, good. That is a great documentary. Yeah. I avoided Lindsay watching it for a while, The Social Dilemma, because I thought, I already know all this. Like, I don't want to put more in my brain. But I think for people that are using their phone a lot and are afraid to put their phone down or turn their phone off for a night or walk away from it or go to the store without it, I think you might want to watch it. I turned my phone off. I went with my husband to have the dog's nails trimmed over the weekend, and I didn't take my phone with me, and so I didn't have it for an hour and a half or whatever. and I got home and I had messages and I was like, oh, it's kind of like where you used to leave and come back and check your answering machine. It wasn't bad. It was nice to not have it with me and not think about it, actually. CBD oil. Yeah, in many people it helps. Once again, you have to look at what the underlying cause for the energy drain is and for the insomnia is, and then pick the appropriate treatment. So that's not for everybody. So, all right. Did I make you guys mad by telling you to ditch your phone? Anyway. All right, I'm going to turn off technology and I'm going to go do something for myself and get to this darn list that I wrote that I need to get done. So nice to have you all here today. I hope this was an uplifting and positive, fun live. I'm trying to stay a little lighthearted a bit in these upcoming days. It's kind of a high tension time. So let's just get together and learn about ways that we can improve our health long term, and really start to just keep ourselves grounded and connecting with each other and learning from each other. That's why I'm here. So I missed you guys Friday, and I will be back tomorrow at 9:15 with another topic. And I hope you guys have a wonderful Monday. And I'm Dr. Tricia Pingle. I'm going to sign off. Thanks. Bye.